No, it shows your son in the background.
Welcome to Love the Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, your number one African Caribbean online radio. My name is DJ HWY, the place to be. We have a very special show for you today. You know what? It was over a week ago when we gathered around here and we promised you a very great show today. And we have with us today Ron. Ron is going to be with us, but Ron is going to be on the hot seat today because Ron is part of the question that we are going to be asking you about. And before we go on, I would like to say good afternoon, good evening to our listeners around the globe. And to Petra, how are you doing, Petra? The busy Petra.
That's like my middle name now. I'm doing great. Hi, Love Bay family. Hi, Ron. Hi to our special guest when he comes back on. So, and TYB, can't forget you. And John, our producer, and the whole other Love Bay family and our listeners around the globe.
Yeah, I thought you had forgotten about me for a second.
Never. I could never forget about you, TYB.
You are forgiven. It's all right. You didn't commit the sin, but you are forgiven. Hi, Ron. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm fine, TYB. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, how are you doing, Petra? No, sorry, forget that question.
Hi, Ron. Doing great.
What's the weather like there in Toronto?
Well, it's sunny and beautiful. It's plus 14 degrees. And, well, Petra is so perplexed because it's, I think, raining over where she is, right?
Yeah, how is it sunny where you are?
It's so beautiful, sunny out there. Yes.
Wow.
That's how nature works, to be.
We're in different parts of the country. We're so close, but seem so far.
That's right. And I like Ron's hat, though.
Oh,
I see that. It's so cool.
Yes,
it's a Tour de France. Yes, yes. I do a lot of biking, and yes, I've missed the Tour de France in Paris by 1 day once. 1 day.
OMG!
I know. It's just. Oh well. I mean, it's just the way that the flight bookings were.
That's right. That's right. Folks, we are back again. We are back at it again, and we have with us FACYL. Yes, FACYL is the new face to a collaborative journey that is already paying off well. Because between FACYL and Ron, they've produced 2 beautiful tracks. Claustrophobic, which you heard before we came on air, and World's Best Friend. And they are on the hot seat today. And before we go on, as usual, I will give the way to Petra to shoot first. Go ahead. Not that one, but to go ahead. Yes, Petra. The floor is yours, please.
Thank you, TYB. So yeah, it's a pleasure to have Ron in the hot seat, and our special guest FACYL. But I'd love to ask my famous question. I think it's really great for the listeners to know, but just for all of our listeners out there, can you just share a little bit about who FACYL is? And then Ron, can you share who Ron, the infamous Ron MOLLINGA is?
That's right. Infamous. You say infamous. Yes.
Infamous.
The infamous.
Yeah. So, FACYL, would you like to share with listeners who FACYL is? Just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
Right
yeah.
on. The
You're all live to the world.
Am I supposed to do an introduction at this point?
Yeah.
She wants to know about you.
Yeah, basically, regular Nigerian, loves music. Been doing this for decades, pretty little decades too, I guess. And global. It seems my country is too small for me. I'm trying to get out of this part of the world, like get my music to touch other parts of the world, and hopefully everybody gets to love what I'm bringing to the table. Shout out to Ron. Thanks to Ron for coming on board, being the greatest duo I've ever had, and
Aww.
I can only say the sky is just the beginning, not the limits.
Exactly. I love that. Amazing. And then just before we go to Ron, I want to ask you one more question. What is it that made you get into music or fall in love with music? Can you hear me, FACYL?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was asking you what made you get into music or fall in love with music.
Okay, my bad. I thought that question was for Ron. So yeah, that's for me.
Oh, it's for you, sorry.
Okay, so basically how I grew up, it was like a neighborhood influenced by hip hop, because back then we had a MTV channel. So I think the majority of what we saw on TV was a certain lifestyle that we hoped to live, and that was the lifestyle of rappers, R&B singers. So it just felt fun then, having to write lyrics of songs, mime to them, and when classmates tell you you're doing this pretty good, then you want to keep it up. And it got to the point where it felt like part of life, not just a lifestyle, but life itself. So that's how I got into music. And shout out to everyone that's been part of the journey. It's been lovely, and thanks to God, we're still doing it till today.
Exactly. Not gonna stop, Exactly. So now, Ron, can you share with the listeners, who's Ron? Who's Ron Mollinga?
Hope you have a long time,
Yeah.
because
We got time.
No, actually, I'm just actually right now. I've been retired for a couple of years. I used to be a teacher for 37 years for music. I taught every subject there is into the planet too, because at one point they dropped the music program, which is unfortunate in schools. But yeah, I used to be a conductor for years and years, however, that's changed, and so. But I'm still a performing musician. I play in a band still today. I love performing live. And TYB, the other day our band started learning the song "September" by Earth, Wind and Fire. Oh, that was so good. Oh, man, what a great song. Nice. Fun. Especially since I sing her, because she can sing it. But you can see how much I like doing that. And then, I've been writing music since. I used to write all the concert band scores for the school. Used to write them all out in charts and stuff like that. So yeah, because of that, it was helpful. I did my years at university for music, and then for the last couple of years, I've been recording music that I thought more people would appeal to. Hopefully, more people will appeal to. And then about 6 months, I would say 6 months ago, Facil, you can help me with this one. I think you and I connected up with, and then, what I liked about Facil and what I still like about him is that when I pass out songs and say, here's what I've done recently, he's very quick about either putting something together or says, he'll put it aside for the time being, but, he's very quick about it. I don't have to ask him, or I don't have to hound him. If I had to hound somebody to get music out of them, I would be thinking that really it's not that important to them, or it's just not something they're skilled at enough. So that's the nice thing. He sent me a song yesterday, and it was great. I was thinking, okay, here I am sitting in front of the TV after I'd spent hours on the computer, but doing different layouts and stuff for a song that he and I are working on lately. However, it's just, late last night a song came in, and it's of course a demo version, but that's perfect. And then he and I can go from there afterwards and decide. Right now, I put them all into a file and say, this is for the next album, because he and I already are working on an album now. So, yeah, Facil. I should say TYB, September. What a great tune, man.
Maybe do a remix. Maybe you could do a remix, a sample, and then make it your FACYL song. That'd be great.
It was just fun. Anyways, sidetrack there. I know.
That's awesome. Thank you, Ron. TYB.
Yes, FACYL, you made a point. You said something that was very interesting. You said that you wanted to get out of, was it Nigeria, or the type of music that people expect Nigerian artists to make, Afrobeat.
Yeah.
And how did you and Ron meet? That's number one. The second part of the question is, how did you select the genre? Because right now, the two of you are creating a kind of music. It's fusion, though. But you have to have the ear to listen to what you guys are doing. As an artist myself, I understand what you guys are doing. Mm-hmm. You'd be explicit enough to explain to the listeners and the viewers what the whole thing is all about.
Yeah, so I met Ron on Instagram. I think he was already buddies with some artist friends of mine. That's CJ and OT.
OT, yeah.
Yeah, so I noticed he had done songs with them, but what caught my fancy was I think one of the songs you guys had an interview for sounded really nice. I loved the fusion, the idea of having to do something digitally without having to be in the same space, so that actually caught my fancy. And I've got a great ear for good music, so I must have stumbled on something Ron posted at some point, one of his songs, and I think I reached out at that point saying, this is nice, it's something, if it could work and all that. So at that moment, I was trying to leave producing beats. I produce my beats myself. I've been doing that like forever. You understand? I produce my beats myself. I have to go to the point of even having to mix most times and all that. So it's a whole lot. So I'm not putting in as much creativity as I would want to put into songwriting. So at the point, I just felt like I was done with this. So I think God answered my secret prayers, because I was on the lookout for a producer, like we call it over here. Ron will say a songwriter, because he writes music compositions. So that's a better term. I was on the lookout for a songwriter, someone that could, do great music compositions while I come with the lyrics, So rather than me having to do everything, I just focus, on the lyrics. And lucky for me, I stumbled on something Ron had worked on, pretty good instrumental, and I reached out, and I think he sent it, and it must have been less than 24 hours. I got back to him with a demo, and that's how we kicked off. I can say today we've made probably 30-something songs, if she's still counting. I've not lost count. Yeah, so about genre, like Ron and myself would say, we don't like to classify what we do as a particular kind or a particular sound. I think what I do personally is influenced by what I grew up listening to. Our mind works like a sound bank. Everything that's been stored there at some point gets to come out. It gets to play a part, in anything you're doing that's got to do with you putting that sound, you writing lyrics, you singing, harmonies and all that. So I think what we do today is basically as a result of what I grew up listening to, which is hip hop, which is pop, which is R&B, which is blues. You understand? And because I'm working with Ron, who is from the Western world, who might have also grown up listening
to the same genre that he and I have listened to, which I grew up mostly on. I'm just waiting because I can see that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I would say it's been quite easy getting to put out music, because what we do kind of merges with what we've grown up listening to, what has influenced us to this point in life. So rather than having to put a name on the music, say R&B, hip hop, pop, I think we just make good music. We just make great music. So for me, it's not like I'm trying to branch out from making Nigerian music or Afrobeats. I'm just doing what I love, and I believe I'm also doing what I know how to do quite well. Because there's no way I'm going to struggle with making music if it's my passion. So long as it's passion, I shouldn't struggle with it. So what we're doing is good music. What we're doing is great music. No genres attached. You know, you could call it R&B, whatever. If I'm singing too loud, you could call it R&B. If I'm singing too hard, you could call it hardcore. You understand? But we're making great music, and every new song is a new sound. You understand? And I'm gonna add, the last time Ron and I had this conversation about genres, I think he mentioned that we should kind of create a signature sound rather than focusing on genres. You know, something that's unique about us, something that whenever people hear, they know, oh, it's this guys. So I think that's the journey so far, and hopefully would impress the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I sort of see where what you're thinking, because I'm of the same faith, if I can put it that way, because I don't write music. When I'm writing music, I write music not because I want to write a high life music or hip hop music. I write because the fact of the matter is I don't want to be cornered into one area. You said, okay, oh, that's, yeah. So I'm playing Afrobeat or I'm playing hip hop. So I don't want to be associated with one particular genre. I should be able to move back and forth, left, right, and center, top to bottom, and not be cornered. So I think I know where you're coming from. And then once you are able to do that, you're free to do anything that you want. Because right now, when Burna Boy, my guy, Burna Boy went and did On Top of the World, a lot of people started talking about it because it didn't sound Afrobeat that everybody have come to know him about. So I understand where you are. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so I think the question was how we met and genre, and also trying to branch from Nigerian music to something else. So like, it's not really me trying to branch out from Nigerian music, because so long as we keep making music, whatever people perceive it as, it's music from a Nigerian. So it's still Nigerian music. It's still African music. It's music from a Canadian. So let's just say it's worldwide music. So what we should be focused on now is verbs. How good is this? You know, is it good music?
Yes.
Good
and
music.
You guys have created some good music, and we'll get into that. You guys,
Hopefully,
I mean, yeah. Go ahead, please.
Good music.
Yes, you produce some great music right now. That is on the upswing. And just before we came on, I'm having a conversation with Ron, and I said, you know what? The more I listen to Claustrophobic Forest, the more I like it. Right now, I know every line because we've pushed it 24/7.
Wow.
24/7, we play this music, and we have strategized to bring onto the playlist. World's Best Friend. We didn't want to bring the two together. We have strategized to do that. But Claustrophobic right now, in my books, is my number one track right now. Petra.
Well said, TYB. Yeah, most definitely. I love Claustrophobic. It has very much like a weekend type kind of vibe to it. So that's the only other artist I could really like and relate to that sound, you know?
So, do you know how many times we have heard that?
That's a good thing, because The Weeknd's a huge mega star.
I know. I'd take his income for sure.
Yeah. FACYL, how do you feel about that comparison?
Yeah. Everyone gets to say the weekend. But I'm still waiting for the weekday. But
you're the weekday, he's the weekend.
I think it's the greatest compliment, because he's one of the best, I would say. And people compare you to who is popular and who they cherish. So I think we're on the right path. And truth is, I'm not trying not to sound like The Weeknd. I'm just trying to keep making good music. So that's it. If our good music keeps sounding like The Weeknd, then it's all good.
That's right. I agree.
For sure. Yeah, but
But for,
excuse,
for the
go ahead.
latest release, I've not gotten any comments as regards we sounding like anybody else. So I guess it's just unique music.
Exactly. Which is exactly what I was gonna say. I mean, the fact that this song you sound similar to a huge megastar, that's a great plus. But it's not like you're trying to emulate his style or his sound. That song just sounded like him. It's just like you said, you just make music. And if it sounds like a big artist, that's the win. That means you're on the right track. So I love that. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. So I have another question for you, Fasil, and this question is also for Ron, so I want the both of you to answer.
Yeah.
So talking about this song in particular, because it's such a unique song because of its sound, you know? I just love the sound. I haven't, other than The Weeknd, it's like it's still unique in its own, especially coming from a Nigerian artist, which I think is so revolutionary because you're totally breaking the mold of what they say a Nigerian artist, quote unquote, should be. You know what I mean? Because I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a British artist, but I don't sing what will be considered British music, like pop music. I sing reggae music, which is more of a Jamaican sound. So you have to sing and do what is true to you. So, in relation to the sound that you're bringing, not even just on this song, how do you feel that sound is going to impact the industry, being that it sounds so different and that you create something so unique? How do you think it's going to impact the industry?
Okay. Like I must have used this phrase 1,000 times, but I think it's what keeps us going. Good music. There's so many Nigerians, Africans making good music, but because of the popular Afrobeat mentality,
Hmm.
many of them feel that they need to, infuse what the country would love, so as to head. So I'm just thinking that in terms of impact, if not if when we get our songs out there and we are global, it's going to encourage local artists, to do what they really love to do, to bring out the unique part of them, to focus on that deep side of what they might have grown up listening to, what inspires them, not necessarily what the country loves, because at the end of the day it's entertainment. Everybody loves good music. Everyone loves Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson never did Afrobeat. So I think the impact would be encouraging local artists to make good music. you know that's it basically.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I have a follow-up question to that, but I want Ron to answer that same question if you don't mind. Mr. Mullinga.
Yeah, right. Gee, I get called that every once in a while. Yes. When I'm walking down the street or riding my bike, hi, Mr. Mullinga.
I'm
Okay.
calling you that now, Mr.
Yeah,
Mullinga.
yeah. Oh, those days are over. You know what? I can't. When I hear what FACYL is saying, I can see we're both on the same page here in terms of what we're trying to do. I don't want to sound like anybody other than, well, me. And same thing, I like what FACYL is saying because he's not trying to sound like everybody else. And nobody's trying to sound like anybody else per se, but there's certain things where when I listen to some Afrobeat artists, and this is no criticism of Afrobeat in per se, it's just saying that when I hear them, some of the songs, I just got to go, that one sounds, I could put one after another and I wouldn't be able to tell you the difference. There's such a mold that's going on of artist to artist. And I think that if you're doing that, then you're really not you're not being able to open yourself up to something that people might listen to more likely. Like what Tyla did with Water. When that came out, FACYL's the guy I think who sent it to me the first time. And I thought, man, this is totally different from what I'm used to hearing in Afrobeat. And so, kudos to her because, I mean, she is doing something different. And that's the same approach that FACYL and I are taking on. And it's not like we want to sound like The Weeknd. It's not like I want to sound like Michael Jackson. But all of those influences have been a part of our lives because it's just stuff we listen to. I mean, you know, somebody said the song Claustrophobic sounds, the guitar solo in it, it just reminded him, he said, it's just like Steely Dan, he said. And I said to myself, well, I'll take that as a compliment. Yes, because Steely Dan is just to me, is one of the greatest groups out there when it was around. It was just so good. So I would say to us, it's unique. With all our experience thrown together in a big bucket, you just pick and choose. Like our next song that we were working on, that he and I were firing questions back and comments back to each other, is, I would say, completely different from the first two here that we have. It is, I would say, different. I don't know what FACYL thinks about that one. What do you think about the next one by comparison? Oh, you got your mic off.
Oh, we can't hear you, FACYL. Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
That should have been our first single if I was to choose, because I don't know. It's
the
just
next song.
It's yeah. It was the points I decided that what we were doing was for real. Like this union was, you know, really what, you know. So that song would forever remind me of how we started and, you know, where we headed. So like he said, yeah, it's a very different song. I don't want to put genres to it to people listen. I think I just leave the listeners to decide what it feels like to them. But what I'm really hoping people do is enjoy the lyrics, enjoy the music compositions, just have a great time when you listen to us. That's what I'll when I'm writing. And whenever Ron sends those songs, I feel like it's a blessing to be able to put lyrics to this, because many a times the songs I choose from him already sound great. Like I feel if you're a good music listener, you love most of those songs even without vocals. So me having to put is, you know, it's great. And I'm just saying, you know, that's what we just achieve, good music at the end of the day.
Nice. That's great. I love that. So I have this one question before I pass on to TYB, because this kind of came up.
You can ask so many questions. That's okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Petra. Kick back, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
This came up when you were answering that question, FACYL, the first question. And it really made me think, right? Because I think it's really great and it's really revolutionary what you're doing with the sound that you're creating, you know, the collaboration between yourself and Ron. But something that comes to mind is like, okay, right now, when we think of Afrobeat, it's like there's a particular type of sound, you know what I mean? And when it first came out, like everybody was like blown away. Like it was like, wow, it like captivated the whole world. Like I think it was beautiful to see and to know that we lived in this generation of before Afrobeat getting big and then actually seeing it ignite the world, you know, and just to see how revolutionary it's been to the industry, you know what I mean? So and if FACYL doesn't come back, Ron, you can also answer this question too. Oh, he's back. Okay. The thing that I'm wondering now, right? Because now, as you said, you're creating a sound as to what that will allow you both to stand out, or for you as an artist, FACYL to stand out. But what, and I'm very long-winded right now, but what makes me question is the fact that when everybody now who's doing the same thing starts to realize, you know, and you made a good point, you know, that this is a perfect opportunity for artists to tap into who they really are. Because you as an artist say, okay, you know what, that's a typical sound. I'm going to look to do something different. I'm going to collaborate with producers differently outside of Nigeria and what have you to create your own sound. And now it's like, okay, other artists, I believe, are going to follow in your footsteps. So I think it's great that you would be one of the pioneers of this, right? So once everybody starts doing what you're doing and creating their own sound, my only question is that, okay, will that now take away from the sound that is originally known as Afrobeat, you know? I mean, will it get to the point where everyone's doing the wrong thing to the point where variations and it waters down so much to the point that we don't know what the original Afrobeat sound is, you know what I mean? Or it could really like revolutionize the culture of music where, there's different offshoots of Afrobeat, whereby you have maybe like Afrobeat pop or Afrobeat funk or Afrobeat jazz or whatever. It can go in many, many ways. But I question that. Do you think with the new different variation of sounds of Afrobeat, do you think it's going to water down the sound? Will it impact it positively or negatively? What do you think?
Tough question, because I've never really thought about that. Like I say, when we make music, we just want to make good music, no genres in mind. But I would say Afrobeat is what it is, and just like I said, we grew up with several influences. Afrobeat remains an influence to so many Nigerians, and when they mix other influences and it gets them to create music with a certain style, and they add the phrase fusion to it. It doesn't take away what the original is. I think it just creates more opportunities for entertainment, more opportunities for creativity, more opportunities for even accomplishments in terms of awards, and all that. Because I think the world keeps moving fast, just like technology does. Same way music. If we're all going to sit back and be scared that we don't want to water down originality, then that means we're never going to be creative. That means we're not going to, bring out the inner us, to make what we really love, to make that sound that you don't know if it's going to even wake someone from the dead. Because I hear people saying, I was really sick, but I listened to that, I felt a lot better. I just had my first child, I was still breastfeeding and all that, but this song gave me the strength to carry on and all that. So I'm just saying, if we want to stick to what we feel binds us together as a culture, then that means we're not going to speak worldwide language, and music is the only worldwide language. Because me and Ron talk about K-pop a lot, and it's said to be futuristic music, being that they're doing something that most producers, most singers, most artists, and people in other genres would start doing in the next 5 years, but they're 5 years ahead. So I'm just saying that's Korean music. I don't hear a lot of what they say, but I enjoy listening to most of what they do, because there's a certain influence that I could pick from here and there. It could be the kick, it could be the snare, it could be the bass line. So I'm just saying, rather than being bothered about watching down the originality of what our influence is, it's best we put in more efforts as to spreading good music, because it's a language. It keeps us together. If I'm to focus on Afrobeat, what Afrobeat really is, I might be singing in pidgin or local Nigerian languages. Most people out there wouldn't understand me. So right, I'm not speaking the world language. So I'm just saying, rather let this tree remain for 100 years, because it's said that whenever you cut that tree, people are going to die. Why don't we try to cut that tree and see if it opens routes, to other villages, to other towns? So that's what I have to say. Hope I wasn't too lyrical.
It's okay. We are all artists here.
I was gonna say,
I'm making notes. Maybe I may use it in my next track.
yeah, for sure. No, you make some really, really good points, Facile,
Yes.
And I always like to look at things from the other perspective, but I like how you bring it right back to that, you know what I mean? It's all about creativity, and it's like, yeah, that is like the life and breath of music, is taking something and trying something new, trying something different. That's how like some of the genres that we have today were created, So I like that answer. Ron, did you want to jump in relation to that question?
No, I think he's got the point. I think if you start looking at things in terms of what genre has to be, something has to be, then I think in some ways you're missing the point of what good music is. I listen to all different kinds of music, and I can't say that there's any one genre I listen to more than the other. There's some I don't listen to as much, but I would say that if you're writing your music for a genre or a particular group of people, then I really question whether you're going to be missing other people. So I think the biggest thing for the two of us is just to get stuff out there that, number one, as he's pointed out, is to try and get a world audience in there which would be people who would understand more of what you're doing. Because if you do put different languages and you mix, we've talked about this before even, and that is if you put different languages in and amongst it, you really are going to stand a chance of losing people. And it's like I've said before as an analogy, when's the last time you read a book with 3 different languages in it? So I think that's the deal where FACYL and I are on the same page in terms of we really want to try and reach as many people as possible. I don't care if they're high school students or they're 95-year-olds. It doesn't matter to me. To me is like, do you like the music? Do you like the music? Does it hit you in the spot, right in the heart? That's what I care about most.
Yeah.
HWY, you've been really quiet.
I know, TYB, you're on the hot seat now. It's your turn, TYB.
No, I'm enjoying the conversation because FACYL is opening up a lot of gems out there that I'm looking at. Because from where I sit, I think I believe that making good music is the icing on the cake. And if you know that you're doing something, sometimes when you're writing music and you're in the studio, sometimes it hits you that this is going to be a hit. This is going to be a hit. It's your hit, but not the people who are going to be listening to it. Because sometimes I quite remember back in the day when you go into the studio, do 8 tracks and stuff like that. I like that. But then when you release it, that I like that may not be the one that you may have chosen. It will be some totally different. So in this particular instance, my question to both of you would be, who selected, in terms of the lyrics, claustrophobic, what was it? Somebody had just texted me and want to find out what claustrophobic was all about. Because I really, really love the way you were able to put, to write the music around it. You see, the trick about the whole thing is all about the fact that you don't live in the same city, but you have been able to go back and forth and then do what you have done, and then you've come out with this. Claustrophobic, who came up with that idea? And how are you enjoying the success? I would say the success. Nobody can take that away from you now. How are you enjoying it? And the claustrophobic and all the whole thing, all about it. The floor is yours. Either one of you can answer.
Well, FACYL can answer about the lyrics to it because he's the guy that wrote the lyrics to it. I'm the guy who wrote the song, had the solo all in there, everything done basically ahead of time. But it's FACYL who took it from there and went, okay, I'm going to write the lyrics and start singing to this. So he's the guy that can answer this better than me. I think because, well, I just passed on the music and I said, do what you want.
Yes.
Okay, so over to me, yeah. So, like I mentioned earlier, claustrophobic would have not been my peak because that wasn't the first snippet we put online. We already put snippet online that people really loved, and I started getting a different kind of review that I haven't got. I think that review was basically because it wasn't Afrobeat. It wasn't the usual Nigerian music. I think that the good thing is that review came from various demography. Let's say teenagers, youths, adults. So that's great. You know, it's not like it's music that's sent that to just old people and all that. But just so deviating so much, claustrophobic. I think my sister asked to listen to the new songs I had done. She's probably my #1 fan, and I sent a couple songs, and she said claustrophobic is the one. And that very moment, if she was CEO of Def Jam, I'll get signed immediately because
wow.
I like your sister. Yeah, she knows good music.
He couldn't wait to get it out. Ron could even testify. I released the song without Ron's approval, and when we had a conversation, so we could properly put it online. You understand?
Excitement.
I released that because over here, once people love a snippet you put out, it means that's the right time to listen to that song. If it takes too long, they don't want to listen any longer, or other things will come up. So it looked like, we were getting great reviews, and when people start asking, I'm on Spotify, I can't find the song. I'm on Audiomack, I can't find the song. What's happening? That kind of thing. So I just quickly released it, but in essence, I think it's great music, but I had no special calling as to writing that particular piece. Just like I say, we've got several influences from what we've listened to over time. I love to tell people that most of what I write is fiction, but truth is, it might not necessarily be fiction. It might be several experiences, put together to tell a story. You understand? So it's not like I'm going to put out a song that's talking about a particular lady or a particular feeling, but it's just, several experiences that people are also going through today, So Claustrophobic was basically, me trying to talk about that feeling where, you don't feel so, you don't feel yourself, when you're alone with a lady in a room and, it's too tight. It looks like you need more air, even though she's your air. So, so a lot of people that, and thanks to Ron, there's butterflies in my belly as well as other people's when they listen to that song. Mostly the intro, it's what's the, like when you back at popular West movies, from the past, that feeling of something you must have heard before. You can't really tell where you've heard it, but it just, I think that's what Claustrophobic was and still is. And like I said, my sister picked that song, and just when she picked it, it dawned on me that this is great music we've been sleeping on, and I'm grateful the world. There's this word I'm trying. Whenever I do.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Claustrophobic was written just like I write every other song. Simple, me just putting out feelings, changing feelings, and also having at the back of my mind that I need people to relate to this, knowing quite well that this is something a lot of people go through, not about race, not about that, and that's the great thing about music. You could share a feeling that's not totally that's not gender based, that's not racial, it's what everyone at some point might have gone through, so that's it. We'll put that piece out, and I'm grateful the world loves it.
Well, including myself, I love it. I love it so much, to such an extent that it has come to a point where I want to ask you this. Claustrophobic is doing great, is getting airplay around the globe. But then my question to you is, why did you guys, Ron and FACYL, why did you release the second song? Because there was no space between Claustrophobic and then
Ron.
Best Friend. Yes. Why was it back to back? You see now, one is over the other now. Over to you, Ron.
Oh boy. Yeah, I tell you, the question always becomes this simple question, and I wish I had the answer for this in terms of what's the right answer. How much time do you leave between your songs before you release another one? I think this was a month, and then we've already almost finished the next song that we have, and World's Best Friend has only been out about a week and a half. Yes. And I'm thinking, well, if I get finished this weekend, well, then we could probably release it by next week. And so, but then it's like, okay, hold on. When is it just the right amount of time to release the next song? Because I know FACYL really likes the next song. That's the one he was talking about that I know so many people said they love. However, when do you do that? I mean, how many times do you do that before you say, okay, here comes the album now? That is the question. I would love to hear what TYB and you and Petra have to say about this. What is the right amount of time between songs?
The right amount, I would say, would be, because like Claustrophobic is doing great.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's attention is focused on FACYL and yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of a sudden, something else comes in. So now, within 1 month, the space of one month, their mindset is going to turn into the other one.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, the other one, the first one, Claustrophobic, is doing fantastically well.
Exactly.
So it seems to me, from where I sit, maybe Petra will be that you'll be competing against yourself.
Yeah.
In terms of the music, because I would have expected it to go longer, because now it is, you planted the seed, it's germinated, it's coming up, and all of a sudden another one comes in. There's a wee bix there that can kill the flow. So I'm not so sure as to, you have your reasons, but I think I would have expected that he is Claustrophobic. Is doing great. Honestly speaking, I've been looking at it, reading, and I'm saying to myself, even Afro charts, you hit it big on Afro charts. And like I said, we had a conversation between Ron and myself. I said, this song is going to go places because it's got certain hook lines that is going to. I'm looking at high school students. I'm looking at young women going to clubs and all those kind of, sitting in cars, or you go to the bank and they are playing it out there and stuff like that. So my whole thing is that I'm not criticizing, but it's a conversation that I would have expected that a space would have been. Maybe you didn't anticipate that. I don't know. The floor is yours.
Okay.
Can I say one thing?
Let's put it on Ron.
Well, actually, Petra, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm like, because I have, you know me, I'm trying not to say.
No, but go ahead. I want to hear it.
For sure. I just want to second like what TIB is saying. I agree. And it's only because I did my research, because I was in the mode of making songs and they sound really good and I put it out. And then I'm making another song and then I put it out and I'm realizing I'm not giving the previous song enough justice. Which is why even right now, I just took a break from even making music because I want to start marketing my other songs. Because you see, music, it never has an expiration date. You know what I mean? Unless you're talking about certain things. Good music never expires. So I feel like Claustrophobic is such a revolutionary song. Revolutionary. You have the song, FACYL and Ron, that is going to change the game of
the
music
voice,
in Nigeria. And it's like, hey, we have the song that's going to change the game. Okay, on to the next. Here's another song. You can't do that. You have the song. You have the golden ticket. And
we have so many.
I would say use this song, use Claustrophobic just to win the minds and the hearts of people worldwide. And when you've got that, then you release the next song. Because once you release any new music, once you reach a certain height with Claustrophobic, it can only continue to go higher, But it's like if you're not really giving Claustrophobic its true justice, it's like it's so like it's disappointing and sad for that song. You know what I mean? Because it's such a revolutionary song.
It's one thing about Claustrophobic is cool, it's calm, it's collected, it's everything. But I think it is now starting to work. Honestly, it's now starting to work.
Yes.
And I've heard it on a couple of radio stations. CBC radio never played, I'll say this, never played, never used to play, local stuff and all those, I'll reserve my thing.
Especially if you're an indie artist, yes.
I agree with you.
Yes, but today they are playing it.
Exactly.
Because they have no choice. They have no way to go because the world has changed. And what FACYL brings to the table, what you bring to the table totally man. The voice, the arrangement, the lyrics, everything.
Yes,
It's-
production.
Everything is packed in that with claustrophobic. Folks, go check it out.
Yes.
It's my number one song right now, claustrophobic.
Yes.
Go check it out. Because now it's only a month now. And I won't be surprised. It's a Juno material or Grammy material.
That's
All
what I'm
things being
saying.
equal.
Give the song at least 6 months. If it would me personally, I know you guys have a year plan, but me personally, I would give that song 6 months to a year, because a year is not even long. There's so much you can do with that song. You haven't hit all the radio stations in Europe, America, Canada, the Caribbean, Africa. Like, y'all got work to do. Like, everyone needs to hear that song. So how are you gonna let only a few people hear the song and go on to the next? Then you're gonna let a few people hear that song, then go on to the next. You can't let as many people hear that song as possible. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's the deal. Even though Ron, even though Ron and I had a bit of back and forth as to releasing new music or not, the thing is, the original plan was to release an album in January. Now, the idea of releasing an album was not to take away what the people love in a single. That's claustrophobic. The idea was to create variety. The idea was to create a longer listening period. You understand? So I know people get on several music digital platforms to listen to music, create their own playlist and all that. But we also want to tell a story with our kind of music. And that story is you listening to claustrophobic and moving on to the next, but not taking away from the fact that people love claustrophobic. But you can never tell if they would love other songs on that list. So now we didn't put out the album. We decided to put out a single or two. Yes, not to take away claustrophobic from the people. Now, the thing is, we are not doing major promotions like we should. If we were doing major promotions, people wouldn't bother if we release new music. The music that we're actually pushing would remain the one that we know people love. So people would still see that one everywhere. There would just be the news that, they released new music. And this is because me, personally, I don't want people going on digital platforms to listen to just one song. And mind you, I have a bunch of other songs on digital platforms that I don't love. And I can't wait to have 1,000 songs that I love on this digital platforms, 1,000 songs from Ron and myself. So the same way we're trying to sell our style of music, the same way we're trying to sell this culture of, an African and a Canadian coming together, I think one song doesn't do justice. I think one song, even if it's Grammy material, needs brothers and sisters to take it as high as it should be. You can never tell how good a thing is if there's no variety. You can never tell if your man or your woman is the best if you've never tried someone else.
To be honest, I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, you can't tell a childhood sweetheart that. Like, some people get married and they just stay married to that same person, and maybe they don't want to try anything else. So I don't know. Like, I can't.
That's your best. That's your best, not the best. That's your best, not the best.
I just want to say.
So that's it.
I hear what you're saying, and the reason why I'm saying, I hear you say you're speaking from a musical standpoint, and that's really great. But from a marketing standpoint, and you have to think about how you're marketing the music, because how you make it and how you market it is two different things. That's why there's a lot of artists that make all this great music, but they have a challenge marketing the music, because the strategy to market is different from creating it, right? And I feel like when it comes to like marketing the music, you kind of have to give it a chance to like bubble. You kind of have to give it the opportunity to kind of grow, because when I look at marketing music, and this is why I pause my music, I decided to take a stock of what the major labels were doing to market their artists. Like Tyler, for example, we heard Water till it became common like water. You know what I'm saying? We heard that song like, I'm telling you, I could sing all those things. I just heard it.
Okay.
but it's like you need to rinse out that song. You need to pick that one song, rinse it out, make people really fall in love with the artist. Because remember, a song doesn't define an artist, it doesn't define a brand. You know what I mean? And I feel like an album is like, that's like the pièce de résistance. That's the final thing, you know? The single, as opposed to kind of like warm people up to get to know the artist and like the artist. And once you have captivated them and they, you know, they're in love with you, then boom, you drop the album. You know what I mean? And then they get all the variety. You just give them a little bit, make them go crazy, and then boom. But it's like, if you're giving them all this variety already, by the time you drop the album, it's like, okay, I already have variety. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just, and that's just my opinion at the end of the day. You can do whatever you want, and I'm just putting my
definitely
opinion.
great opinion. I agree with you 100 from a marketing point of view. And when that's why I said we are not doing major promotions.
Okay.
Most of what we're doing is still organic. If we were signed to a label or we had a management, they probably would roll out music this way. This is a standard to rolling out music. But here's the thing. I'm not trying to take away all that Tyler has got, but I'm just trying to say that you use the Tyler instance, and because Water was such a great song, everyone expected the second song to be pretty good. I'm not saying the second song isn't pretty good, but obviously the second song isn't as big as
the first.
Water. Now that's what happens when you wait for long. When you wait for one song, you know, to eat into the minds of people, they create a particular notion about what is expected from you. You understand? And there's so much disappointment when the next single doesn't seem as big as the first.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with FACYL.
That's it. But when the singles come not so long after, you know what happens? Oh, great song, Claustrophobic is still my best. That's what happens. Oh, great song, they just released a new song, Claustrophobic is still my best. But okay. Personally, I'm not of the opinion that putting out music would disturb or alter the progress or success of the previous music, even though it can to an extent. But the thing is, like I said, if we're doing major promotions, people would have in their faces what we really want them to have in their faces. And many a times I hear a great song, I go online, to check that artist out, and I don't think listening to just one piece would be okay for me. I want to listen to more. And most times I find out another great song, and when you go on YouTube, you see comments like the most underrated song on the album. That's because after the one that ate into people's minds. But it was a great song as well. But yes, underrated because it was released so long after the hit song, and it wasn't considered a hit. So it's not like it's my own system of marketing, but it's just my own state of mind when it comes to releasing music. That even though Ron is laughing, even though
I agree with you, FACYL. I'm totally with you.
Yeah. Okay. Just so I'm not talking too much. Another point.
No talk.
No. Go ahead. It's your show.
Okay.
It's your show.
Okay.
It's your show.
It's your show.
It's Claustrophobic show right now. Let's go.
Another great point is not trying to brag, but man, there's too many songs. If you want to release singles once every 6 months, I would grow grayer than Ron before we release 5 singles. There's too many singles. Right after this show, I'm sending the latest song to Ron. That'll be probably almost 40 songs for now. And the thing is, if we can't keep up with the pace of knowing what the public wants, knowing how they feel about what we're putting out, it just might alter my own creative process. I don't know about Ron's, but it might alter mine because I want to go online and see comments like great song. Okay, like today, I've noticed that the person who posts Claustrophobic the most posted World's Best Friend a lot more than claustrophobic, but posted claustrophobic at the end of all the posts of What Best Friend, just to say claustrophobic is still a great song.
I saw that. Yeah.
So that's it.
Don't be claustrophobic now.
Yeah.
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 And
Well,
you know, I agree. I agree with Facil. He and I are the same way this way because we're both we're writing music all the time. What probably slows us down the most is like our conversation that we had on Thursday, I think it was, where we're going back and forth between one song saying, how about this? How about that? How about we add this? How about we take out that? We need more of this. Or, I mean, that's very tedious. And that takes away from sometimes our creative aspects of it. But the same thing is we have so many songs. I bet you it's 30 to 40 songs. And if we wait every 6 months, man, I'm gonna be dead before they all get out there. You know?
On the album, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. It's just that's just the thing is that I guess we want the music out there. I agree with Facil on this. You know, yes, we are. I'll be the first to admit I am not a marketing strategy what do you say, a market analyst, or I'm not even
marketing strategist.
Strategist.
Yeah,
thank
marketing
you.
strategy.
Yeah, I that is not, I'll say, and I probably can speak to Facil on this for him as well, is that is not our strength. However, writing music is, and that is what I guess we just want people out there to listen to it and go, okay. And I really think, and Facil said something to me today, and that was to the fact that just get the music out there and see what it does. It was something similar to that. And so I think that the other thing that really works with us here, I sent him a message earlier, and he's gonna, I don't know if he's seen it yet, but there's a really good producer. His name's Andrew Schweitz. He's so good. He's worked with Adele and the likes, and he gives out 2 pieces of advice. And I think he and I try to work by this. And number 1 is don't be a dick. And number 2 is who cares what you use to create your music? Nobody cares. It's what comes out of the speakers.
Exactly.
That's all that matters. If you want to work in this industry, that's it. Don't be a dick and listen to what comes out of the speakers. And that's all that matters. And that's, I think, how he and I sort of work in this industry. And yeah, I guess we're not on the top of the end. And, you know, we're not signed with Warner Brothers or Sony yet. And nor do I expect to be anytime soon, because as we've had a conversation before, I think we'll always want to be indie artists, and you know, maybe we won't be the top of the line because we're not bought out by Sony, but I refuse to do that. So
yes. Yeah, when you branched out, when you said that, I was going to scream and say, we have not been signed by a label yet.
Ron, what did you say? In my Macaulay look in the face.
That's right.
I know. Shocked look on Petra's face.
Yeah,
that's right.
I just want to say one thing. So I just want to say one simple thing.
Go ahead,
I
please.
think you make some good points in relation to the amount of music and like what your goal and your intention is. And that kind of boils back to what I was going to say. It all depends upon what your goals are. You know what I mean? Like some artists, like they plan that they want to just put out some music and then that's to build up to the album. But I also do like the strategy that FACYL and you are both operating on, and the fact that you just want to kind of get it out there, kind of like market research and see like, you know, like who gravitates to what sound, and like pretty much, you know, you can decide what to do from there. Again, it just boils down to your goals, you know. And I'm not sure about time wise, but I just wanted to ask like one final thing, like what are your goals? Like what is the goal for FACYL and Ron?
I want to be bigger than The Weeknd.
That'll be signed to a major. Yeah.
Sorry, my sense of humor comes in. Go ahead, FACYL.
You stole my goal.
You stole my goal.
Ron, I said you stole my goal.
Yeah, I know. You can see we're on the same page together.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you. We can hear you. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
And
so
I think that is the best. That's the beauty of it all. I mean, working with somebody that you understand each other. I would like to tell you, ever since I got into music when I moved from Montreal and I came in here, went into the studio. I've worked apart from working at the CBC studios. I've worked with only one person, Ozzy Gurley, OSS Studios. We get along. We have never cursed at each other before, never said anything there. We understand when once we go in there to create, he brings his idea, I bring my idea. We don't say that one is bad, that one is wrong. We put it all together, and then boom, we've made music, and they're good. Because if you work in tandem with one another and you understand each other, that is the beauty of it, and that is the essence of the whole thing. And I'm so happy to hear that you guys get along. You speak at length, hours on end, and doing music, and then that is the beauty of it. And at the end of it all, if you hear your music being played on so many different radio stations across, continents and stuff like that, that gives you the the satisfaction. And I think you guys are relishing in that because this is just the baby steps that we've taken. And I know you guys are going to go places because claustrophobic has changed my whole idea about the whole thing. FACYL, I'm saying this to say that if you tell somebody that FACYL is from Nigeria, he's singing that.
I know.
And how many people know that the weekend comes from Ethiopia? A lot of people don't know that.
Exactly.
Good point. Very good point.
A lot of people don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people also don't know that. So the combination, the collaboration, and the collaborative effort, and what you guys are putting in there is great. And I hope and pray you continue with it. And we'll see something better coming out of it because, like, to bolster what FACYL said in the beginning, it's not about you leaving Nigerian Afrobeat music. It's about you getting out of that zone and getting your comfort zone to create music that you want, music that you don't have to compete with so many people, because in the Afrobeat genre there are millions of people trying to get to the top. But if you are able to branch out and then do your own thing, and then you are doing your thing with Ron and stuff, like creating your own music and your own space, I think it's fantastic. And I'm in agreement with everything that you guys are doing. And for our part on Lovely Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, just like I said, we've been pushing claustrophobic 24/7, and we'll continue to do that.
Thank you.
We will continue to do that because it's a piece of music that I'm so proud that I'm speaking with Ron and I'm speaking with FACYL. And who knows, next year, the best album or the best track of the year, claustrophobic. And then FACYL and you know what, FACYL and Ron will go out there, and then that will be the icing on the cake for it. But you guys are doing great, and I'm proud of you. Continue to do what you're doing. And Ron, if you and FACYL have any final words, or if Petra has anything to say, because we are getting the extended version of this program, because it is worth talking about.
Yeah, we're certainly looks like we're going overtime.
That's for you, Ron.
It's for you.
Yes, sir.
I think yes, ma'am. I think what you can see from this is how FACYL and I are on the same page. What I find that probably is so unusual, I think, is that we live so far away. I mean, we're 8 time zones away. We're not even, I mean, he and I have never even, hugged each other. You're thinking, when we do eventually meet each other, and hopefully that's sometime at the Junos or the Grammys or something, I'm just being a little sarcastic there, but it's just that I hope that at least we can hug each other, because we never even other than seeing each other on WhatsApp or talking with one another on the phone so many times. I like the idea of how we're able to communicate and get things done, even though we're only about, I think, something like 8,000 kilometers apart. So something to that degree. It's just you know, and I'm glad that we're able to keep doing that. I don't even know when this guy sleeps, because there's sometimes I'm waking up in the morning and he's awake. I'm sometimes like it's at like midnight and he's awake. Ask this guy if he even sleeps.
It's a labor of love. It's a labor that he loves it, you know. Yes. You see, Ron, if you're doing something that you love, you don't care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because on this radio station, we have so many people doing different things. And sometimes, you know, I'm looking over so many different things. Sometimes I get to bed, say 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, because you want the best out of the situation. So you put all the energy that you can master to do it. And at the end of the day, when everything is settled and then you are satisfied with everything that you've done, all that you have to do is to take, you know, a handkerchief or something and then just clean the sweat and say, yes, I have arrived. Yes, I did it. Yes, I've come alive. And yes, you have to deal with me. Yes, you're going to deal with me in so many different ways. And I'm so happy that my name is in the newspapers, everything there. Then at that particular point in time, all your labor has paid off.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well said, TYB.
Yeah. So, FACYL, what is the next move? In terms
Don't tell him the name of the song.
Yes.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Rob's gonna fly there personally if you say the name of the song, okay?
I wouldn't say the name of the song because we are not sure the world wants us to release another song yet. It's too sudden. It's too soon.
Thank you.
Exactly. Good one.
Thank you.
It's too
soon. It's too soon. I think 6 months might be better.
Awesome.
Okay, so as
gotta give the people what they want.
As regards what's next, just to add to what Petra said at some point, aside we trying to, you know, work on a build up for the album, we're also trying to how do I put it? We're trying to take advantage of what's going on right now. This seems to be a peak for us. We believe we'll still go higher, but I think anything we do at this point, in a song release at this point, people would want to listen because there's already something out there to love.
Exactly.
If we wait, so that's also another reason we're putting out songs, just so because we have their attention right now. I think it's also the best time, you know, to give them a couple more. And just to add to the part where you asked about the goal, aside being bigger than the weekend, like Ron mentioned, we operate digitally. So I think what's next is not like it's going to be immediate, but what's next is putting out as much music as possible so that the forces of nature would find a way to bring us to the same place and we can operate as a duo, perform together, make music together in the same room.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yes,
it's gonna happen. Speak into existence.
I'll be doing the backups.
I'll be doing 2 harmonies.
That's what's next. That's the long term next. So what's next? That's the long term next. That's the mission, long term. You understand?
Yeah.
So for now, you know, I'm just gonna keep doing what I do. He's gonna continue doing what he does. And another reason we are even a bit slow in terms of creating music is because we've been trying to put out music, and when you try to put out music, you know, you have to you know, do a whole lot of reworking, probably re-recording, mixing, mashing, and all that. So that's slowing down the process. Or we might have been putting out music every week. You guys are complaining about a month. You might have been 3 days in time. Yeah, so I just don't want to lose the vibe, like Nigerians call it. It's a vibe. I don't want to lose that, and I think the vibe was there from day one. The very first song, when I sent it over, his remarks, and it's also been a learning process for me. There's a lot about music today that not just the fact that I didn't know about them, but I wasn't bothered. Sorry to say, a lot of Nigerians aren't really bothered about, you know, how to make great music. They feel so long as the beat is nice, they could jump on it through freestyle. But there's a whole lot of other factors that become a formula that, so long as you keep applying it, it's definitely going to be great music. You understand? So it's not bragging, but there's going to be a lot of claustrophobics from us out there.
Awesome.
And one word I forgot to, I was trying to remember then, is nostalgia. That's the feeling you get when you listen to claustrophobic.
Yes.
That's the feeling we want people to have, in their skins. When they listen to our music, it makes them remember a loved one. It makes them remember a relationship. It makes them remember the good old days, the golden age, and all that. So that's what's up.
Awesome.
It reminds me, I just want to say, it reminds me of England. When I hear claustrophobic, I just feel like I'm back in the UK,
Hey, that's a good thing, I guess. Hey.
Yes.
That's what's up.
That's right.
Sorry, TYB.
That's right. Folks, we've had a very great conversation here. We've explored, and we've come to the realization that making good music is all what counts, and you don't have to rush, and then do something that you think you don't have any goal. Between the two collaborators, if I can put it that way, they have a goal that they have set among themselves. I mean, between themselves. And looking at it from where I sit, I think they've struck gold, and I say kudos to them. And I pray that they continue to do what they have been doing that has created claustrophobic. And folks, if you haven't gotten hold of claustrophobic, I'm going to ask either Ron or FACYL to let you know where you can find claustrophobic. And this music, folks, I'm not being biased, it's good. So where can people find the music, please?
How about every major platform out there? It's on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's everywhere out there.
Yeah,
Ron's sending it out to radio stations almost by the day. There's our marketing guy. But it's just it is, and you can see us. We're on Instagram. Mine is just Ron Mollinga, and FACYL is on. He laughs because I know because somebody once called him FACYL on the radio.
You just did it right now.
I know, but I'm just joking around because he's laughing too, because I heard it on a radio station when they introduced him. They said FACYL and Ron. I was like going, oh, and it was just, oh boy. Anyways, we tried to get FACYL's name right. But FACYL, you can tell them how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, Instagram FACYL, FACYL, Ron Mollinga as well. That's RONMOLLINGA on every digital music platform. Just search claustrophobic and we'll pop up. And the lyrics are online too, so you could enjoy the music while listening, while reading the lyrics. That's a great feeling.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Petra, any last word? Any last word from you, Petra?
Oh, I just want to say, honestly, this was such a refreshing, mind-opening interview, and it was just so wonderful just to have Ron as a guest. Usually he's on the other side, so it's great to be able to put him in the hot seat and just to be able for sure. And just honestly, you're just a wonderful artist, FACYL, and you're super talented. But I love your mindset, and just like claustrophobic, the way you think and the way you operate is outside of the box, and I think with that mindset and you and Ron working together, I can only see nothing but success for the both of you. So,
amen.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. We hope we made you laugh at least a little bit and have fun with us, because
yeah, folks. And with that, the extended version of Highway 6 to Africa. And we've learned a lot today, and we've learned a lot about FACYL and Ron making good music together. We hope they continue. We hope, by the time the next nominations come up, claustrophobic will be one of them. And I'll be going into my shrine to do whatever I have to do to get it right there. So, folks, until then, take care of yourselves and each other. And next week, we'll bring you another artist. And from myself and management and staff of Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, Petra, Ron, we say bye-bye.
And bye.
Bye.